For the first time in the history of rock bands, all of the tracks from the first album that were released immediately debuted at number 1 on Billboard's Hot Mainstream Rock Tracks and went 6 times platinum. The second and third albums each achieved diamond and platinum status. They received numerous honors, including the Grammy. People can really sing along when they hear With Arms Wide Open, Higher, My Sacrifice, One Last Breath, and other songs. There's no denying that the band Creed was one of the most popular bands in the early 2000s, with the potential to be one of the most respected and legendary bands. Yet they quickly rose to the top of success, but somehow, in just the blink of an eye, they suddenly disappeared. How did it happen that the band that fans adored became despised and even dubbed the worst band in history? You can find out all about it here, but before we go deeper, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you are always updated on my new upload. Band Creed started in 1994 in Florida, because Scott Stapp and guitarist Mark Tremonti were classmates in high school, and they found out that they both had a passion for writing songs. They became friends and wrote songs together. In terms of being a Christian, when they were able to complete a few songs, the two auditioned to complete their band, and they got the bassist, Brian Marshall, the drummer, Scott Phillips, and another guitarist, Brian Brasher, who also left immediately the following year. They decided to continue even though there were only 4 of them in the band and their first name was Naked Toddler, but people did not react well to the name that Tremonti thought of. They thought of a new name until Marshall said that his previous band had the name Maddox Creed. Stapp liked the name Creed and everyone agreed. They first played in bars, and everything went well. People admired them until they were managed by the bar owner, who happened to have a promotion company. Their songs became popular all over Florida until their music reached Diana Meltzer of Wind Up Records, a large recording company, and they eventually signed a contract with them. They released the first album named My Own Prison, under Up Records. They released 4 original songs from this album and all of these songs immediately became number 1 on Billboard's Hot Mainstream Rock Tracks, which Billboard based on songs often played on US radio. According to them, this is the first time that someone has done this in the history of rock bands. Even though they are a new band and don't have much exposure yet, they still sold more than 6 million copies, which is why it became 6 times platinum immediately. And at the Billboard Music Award held in 1998 they were immediately named Rock Artist of the Year, and because they earned a lot they immediately thought of writing their second album which they named it Human Clay. A song on this album has the title Higher, which broke the record again because it remained at the top of the rock record radio charts for 17 weeks. Not only that, a TV network VH1 put it in the 95th best rock song of all time. This album also ranked number 1 on the Billboard 200 and sold over 10 million copies in just 2 years, making it a certified diamond by the Recording Industry Association of America. The song With Arms Wide Open that is also included on this album gave the band the Grammys Award as the Best Rock Song in 2001. During the height of the popularity, their bassist Brian Marshall had a problem, because he was addicted to alcohol, so it was suggested by Scott Stapp had to rehab first, because he was worried about his band but he refused so he was removed from the band. But as a friend they revealed that he voluntarily left the band Creed. Brett Hestler replaced Brian Marshall as the band's bassist. On November 20, 2001 they released the third album which included the songs My Sacrifice and One Last Breath, It hit back immediately to number 1 of the Billboard 200 and it remained at the top of the 8 weeks where only Creed and the Beatles did it. But at the same time, the popularity of band Creed began to decline, because they had to tour to promote the album. Unfortunately, Scott Stapp was involved in an accident while traveling in a car. From then on, Scott Stapp had to take painkillers regularly and this worsened the problem because he was addicted to taking pain medication along with being addicted to alcohol. On the day of their concert on December 29, 2002, he allegedly could not sing because he was too drunk and high on drugs while on stage, which is why 4 of their fans filed a lawsuit against Scott. The case was dismissed but the band still asked for sorry on behalf of Scott. Scott Stapp's controversial involvement continued until he was jailed for reckless driving in July 2002. In 2003 he almost committed suicide when he drank a bottle of Jack Daniels with the gun pointed at his head, but it was good to see he had the picture of his son, so he just shot the gun he was holding on the roof of his house. Do you know why he wants to commit suicide? He thought that he wanted to be Kurt Cobain so that his bandmates might be happy when the sales of his album increased again due to his suicide. But it didn't end here, because such attempts were followed and exposure to various messes and cases, and the worst is the release of its sex tape which includes his friend Kid Rock feeding bananas to women. Due to this series of incidents forever that people hated Scott Stapp and also permanently disbanded the band Creed in 2004, they are already separating. In the poll conducted in Rolling Stone magazine as the worst rock bands of the 90s, they were become number 1. Creed reunited again a few years later, releasing another 4th album called Full Circle, but this album did not sell well due to negative feedbacks related to what Scott Stapp did. During their tour, they dropped the price of tickets, but according to sources, only about 30% of the tickets were sold. The band even planned for their 5 more albums, but the band left it empty and Scott did not know. Stapp is the reason why, even though he hoped that the band would reunite, but he just went back to being a solo artist until he became the vocalist in the band Art of Anarchy, a band that is considered a super group because they have John Moyer who became the bassist of the band Disturb. Also they have Ron Bumblefoot Thal, who used to be the guitarist of the band Guns N' Roses. In November 2020, Creed drummer Scott Phillips announced that the band's reunion was possible, but according to the articles I read, fans still can't help but find it difficult to regain their lost popularity. A time when the Creed was very popular was also a time when social media was in vogue, so what he did was easily spread all over the world, because in fact there were many things like this happening in other bands like in the year of 70s, 80s and early 90s, just like Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses. But whatever is important maybe now is that he has overcome such a situation, and with the help of his family, Scott Stapp eventually forced to fix his life because he came to the point that his family was about to leave him.
Love him or hate him. Let's not just say that they are bad or that their songs that went popular are boring to just bash the singer. It's also hard to fool oneself because whatever we do, the songs that they have made are already branded with our feelings. So that's all for today's video, and if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to be updated on my new uploads.
Will fly. my sacrifice.